So define a function called best movie of the year that accepts an array of movie objects and a year and returns names of movies that are from that year and have a score more than 90. Movie object looks as follows. That is a great movie, and that's it. So I need to make a function, right?
That takes 2 arguments.
That takes 2 arguments. So here, const best movie of the year equals, and now it needs to take 2 things. It needs to accept 2 parameters, 2 arguments. It's going to take a list of movies, an array of movies, as well as the year.
Well, it might be confusing with those variable names, but we'll see.
What would you change them to then?
Probably just like N and Y, because I think is it movies in the array or?
Yeah, that's what it,
Okay.
that's what it is.
Or I think the object is movies, so I don't know.
Nope.
Okay.
The object will end up being a movie.
Oh, okay. We're okay.
So now let's look at what we have to do. We have to find both movies. We have an if in there, right? We have some sort of logic, right?
Mhm.
Does the movie have a year that equals the current year? And does it have a score bigger than 90? So already we're trying to filter down our set, right? So that probably implies a filter. Anytime you have like an if condition, that's going to be a filter, usually. That's a good guideline. And then we need to do something else, right? What's our return value?
Just the movie names.
Right?
Yeah, just the name.
Just the names.
Right.
So now we're going from take everything inside of my list from an object and map it to a string, create a string from it. So it sounds like we're going to be using both a filter and a map together. So which one should we do first, the filter or the map?
So the map is going to turn them all into strings.
Yep.
And the filter is going to get out only the ones that are in the year that we want.
Yep. And just like Will said, we need to do a filter first. Because we need to filter down the movies and then convert it.
Mhm.
We could convert it and then filter it, but that'd make our life really, really, really hard. Because now we're trying to like parse a string and we're gonna do some weird things and just not worth it.
So the map turns it into individual.
The map turns it from an object to a string.
Okay, so movie year score.
That's our object.
It turns that into a string.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. The mathematical term is projection. I don't know if you're good in math or not, or if you are familiar with math. But it's like I want to take everything and create something new from that thing, from that first one. So let's worry about the filter first, because that will make our lives a lot easier. So I'm actually going to define something, const RV. RV stands for return value. And the reason why I'm doing that is so I can log it out. Ooh. And I want to first filter it down. So movies dot filter movie is, and I want to get all movies. Now remember, for a filter, I need to return a truthy value for each object.
Right.
So what's my truthy value here? What-
Movie.
The year and
Year and movie and.
The year is equal to the year we passed it.
Yep.
And the movie score is over 90.
Yep. So if movie.year equals year and
movie dot
dot
score equal is greater than 90.
90, or greater to or equal to. Does it say?
Yeah.
Just more than. Okay. So that's going to take our list and filter down to just the ones that we want. Let's see what this makes us. Best movies of the year is still not defined. Yeah, you are.
Is it a curly bracket?
Yeah, I think you are missing it. Correct.
I don't know.
If it was missing a curly, it wouldn't run. What? I know you exist. Don't lie.
There might, I think there might be just like some syntax error, like somewhere in between all that or that uncounted code. Something goofy.
Okay, so you're going to be a thing. Oh. There we go. Commented out too much. There we go.
Alright, so we got
Yep, so here is, let me add some more console.logs here.
what does that do?
Console.log takes any amount of parameters and just log them out.
Okay.
So I'm logging out, hey, where's my filtered ones? And that's my RV.
Filter.
Is this a string?
It's just a
to
string.
tell them
It's,
filter?
it's just a string.
You filter it out.
Mhm. So like for here, I'm filtering out all the ones that are 2014. And I can even add more parameters here to get the current year. Just so I know what's going on. So here, so like for this one, as we see here, we're looking for the year 2014. And we're only getting back the Grand Budapest Hotel and Birdman. On the line below that, we're looking for 2017, and we're only getting back Get Out and The Big Sick.
That's cool.
So we've done the first half, right? We've done a filter. So now we need to map these. So I'm going to chain these, put a map on the end of my filter, and I'm going to say, hey, for each movie, return to me the string of the title, which is going to be movie.name.
Name.
Movie done.
One line of code.
So,
So now we've gone from getting back our objects like this right here. With the map, now we get just the strings.
and
That's it.
Oh, hold. That was it?
That was it.
Line of code. What?
return movie. Okay, yeah. Movie
Look at all
done.
this other crap that I added to that.
Don? Don?
Where did the dates come from?
Where did they
Did
date?
you pick those
They're at the
2014,
bottom.
2017?
Yeah, they're down at the bottom inside the tests.
You
So,
don't have to.
so how did you know to only use movie.name?
So like here's our list of movies that we are passing in here.
Oh, so they were, okay.
Which helped me to look at that data.
What was that, Will? Let me.
How did you know to only do movie.name for the map?
So if we look up here, it says we want to return the name.
Okay.
And our sample movie object, right here, the name of the movie is in name.
Right.
So I want to take the movie object and convert it to only give me the name. I'm just going, hey, for each movie, give me your name.
It's so semantically perfect that it's kind of confusing sometimes. Huh?
So if the movie object
You know what I
said
mean?
title, get out.
At least for me.
It would be
There's
done.
a movie dot title.
Correct.
So to better approach this in the future, when I read something like that, I should be coming to you and trying to get a clarification of the requirement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just be like, is this what you mean?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I love those questions because usually the students are right.
And so the fact that it says it's now this is all really one sentence, right? Like
Yeah.
you could just like all
Yep,
in one
it
line,
is.
right?
Yeah.
Because it looks weird with it saying .map.filter, but really that's attached to the end of the parentheses on
Yep.
the line above.
This is attached to here. This is attached to here.
Mm-hmm.
It's saying here's one really long line. I'm going to format it for you so it looks a little bit prettier.
So you can read it without having to scroll over.
Exactly.
Are .filter.map and .reduce, are those functions or no? They are functions.
They're functions.
Okay, so it's a function that lives in the function,
Yes. That lives off of an array.
right? Which operates through a function.
Yep. Function.
It's-
Conjunction.
There's
So this is a
somebody
three-layer-
built those into
three-layer
JavaScript.
function.
Sorry.
Yes. What was that? Functions are fun.
Yeah. So I was reading about like one-line returns. Like you don't need to return if it's one line.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
We can make this shorter.
right? But
Yes.
is that just true across the board? Like if you need a return, you can just keep the code in one line and don't need a return? Like I don't
Yeah, if what you're doing is only one line, you don't need a return.
Okay. I've never heard of that. Like I don't
It's a newish feature to JavaScript.
That's what we were doing yesterday, right? When we were taking out the brackets
Yep.
and the return.
Yep, that was using something called ES6 syntax.
Oh, it's ES6. But
Yeah. And ES6 is kind of like the big awesome thing in JavaScript right now, which it should be because it is awesome.
Mhm.
But it allows us to kind of have ideas like that.
So in this one, you could take out 2 returns and 4 squiggly brackets.
Yep.
It looks a lot nicer. The
Four
terms are
squirrely
ugly.
brackets.
Yeah, so we're going to comment that out. And let's shorten this up a little bit.
Boom, boom.
How nice that looks.
So we have 2 different options there, two different ways to do the exact same code.
Just so easy.
Which one do you like? It's up to you. Whichever one feels better to you. Some people like seeing everything, seeing the return statement. But some people are like, you know what? No, just give me the expressiveness. Just say, hey, I'm getting the movie name. Just say, here's my condition that I'm testing for. Get rid of that extra fluff.
Right.
So what would be one where we couldn't take out the return because there was more than one line?
So if there's more than one line, it would be, what's a good example of that? Off the top of my head, we could do, it'd be like something like this, or I have to do like const, if I have to do some like math in there, or if I have to do like
Right,
some like,
Okay.
Like only the names that are longer than 4 characters?
that'd be another filter. I'm trying to think of like, if I was figuring out some, if I had a list of houses object that just had a height, a width, and a
Yes.
depth. That's it. Yeah, the 3 dimensions, and I had to figure out the volume and do some complex mathematics here. Then I'd have multiple lines there. We
Most
will.
of the time, you're probably not using more than one line.
you should try to only do one line because I mean, is that your logic is very small and concise. But I wouldn't be afraid to use multiple lines in there.
I was gonna say, like, one reason I like to break it up is returning is like, well, what if you want an array of the movies with the scores higher than 90? So like, you just have that data all ready to go.
Mhm.
You know, it's not all
Yeah, it's
tucked in.
yeah, it's just a different way of doing things.
One more.
Yeah.
So, so would it be good just if you want that, if it was, maybe should we just like comment it out and just leave the short of it? Alright, sorry, answer my own question.
What was the question? Maybe someone else had that
Oh.
question.
I was gonna say, should I just comment out the long version and just have the short version so it looks cleaner, but like, just comment out the long version.
Yeah, like you can make the long version, and I typically do make the long version first, and then I go back and I refactor it where it seems appropriate. Feeling better than 20 minutes ago?
Doing good.
All right, let's do another one. Let's do the second highest one, which was find the needle. Ah, here we go.
Yeah, Mark was like, nobody voted for that.
Easy peasy.
That's what I got
Just kidding.
thinking about last
So
night.
so
I
easy.
like wanted there to be
So-
one find the needle.
Find the
I
needle.
got the whole
Very
thing back.
basic.
There we
I
go.
just filtered for needle.
Did you say Control F and search for needle?
All right, so let's break this down. So define a function, const find the needle, that accepts an array of strings. So I'll call this words. And it returns the one string that contains the word needle inside. So this is fun. So how would we approach this? I know how I would.
I think you need a function that, I don't know, like checks for needle. Well, checks for the string needle.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually console.log. I'm going to actually log out my test data to see exactly what I'm dealing with. So I'm just going to console.log words.
Is that an actual terminal or is it emulating terminal?
It's an actual terminal.
Oh.
So here we have, can everyone see that right? So we're getting an array that's 4 things long. And we need to check each one to see if it contains the word needle.
Oh.
As we see, there's only one, right? We know we can look at it and go, oh, it's the third one, but now we need to code up that logic. What did we really do? We went, does this one have it? Does this one have it? Ooh, this one has it. Does this one have it? So according to that, we know that there's only going to be one string that has it. Because it says the one string.
So we're gonna need a for each.
So there's a couple of different ways to do this. We could use a for each. What else could we do?
Filter?
Filter feels natural, right?
Mm-hmm.
I used both of those.
Probably.
I thought I needed both of those,
I
but
probably don't need both of those.
I didn't figure it out.
So filter, we're taking it from here to here. A big list to a small list. So let's filter that out. Const rv equals words dot filter. All right. I want to return what's my truthy value here? What's my condition? If the word contains needle.
needle.
Yep. So if the word, so return word, and how do I test for that?
It would be equal filter? Or, I'm sorry, equal needle. Maybe?
No, because that won't test
that would come back if the whole string was just needle.
Right.
But if the
the
string
whole-
has needle in it, that won't work.
Exactly.
So
So
can you just look for the whole thing?
So we need something to actually say, does this contain something, right?
right, does it contain operator?
Oh,
Contain. Contain.
Oh, what?
Oh.
Cheating.
Joe, I like how just disgusted you are with it when like JavaScript has tools to do with it.
Lame.
Sorry. It's
Dynamically stupid.
all right.
What happened?
I lied. It's not contains. It includes. My bad.
Really disappointed.
I know.
and well, I guess I'll look at includes, but includes is only checking for strings, or it can do other things as well.
It is for strings, but I believe it's also for arrays too.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yep.
And
You
again,
probably have to reduce it, right? Or
No. So now, just to make ourselves a little bit safer, Amanda, you're thinking?
I'm
Okay.
sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I read it.
Yep. So we're saying, hey, check each word, convert each word to all lowercase, and if that lowercase word contains needles, if it includes that term, whatever string we pass it, needle, then return it. That'll give us a true value. So that'll end up in the other array. Amanda?
So if needle nose pliers were here in our list of arrays.
Yep.
And that were all one word, it would get returned as well.
Yes. Yep. So now I'm going to console.log that as well. Console.log RV. Check it out. So hey, we're going from the array. We're going down now to just that one string. Still failing though.
Still need.
So you can map?
Returns that one string.
So it's returning the word.
It's returning that one string,
Right.
but it's returning that one string
as an
inside
array.
of an array.
That's returning the array.
Reduce.
So we need.
Map.
Map or reduce?
Map it.
Why don't we just return the first one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
First one. Oh.
this looks weird, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Whoa.
Oh, it looks like reduced, but it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the combo.
Yeah, it looks weird
Why is it returning it inside of the array instead of taking it out of the array?
because a filter returns in a array.
Because you created one to put it in
Yeah,
once you extracted it from.
that's what filter does. Filter is like, here's a new array for you, even though we know it's an array of one. So we can actually do return RV, pop out the first one.
I like that.
Whoa.
For some reason, an extra.
Yeah, like
C0 at the end after the
That-
close brackets by itself drives me nuts.
that looks weird.
Yeah.
That takes a lot to kind of wrap your head around that, hey, filter returns an array. And so we have an array, and we're going to pick the first one.
It's simpler, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't look good.
It's, you need to kind of know a lot more context, what's going on, in order for that to make sense. This way is much more straightforward. We have Phil and then we have Amanda.
Does that syntax work, the bracket 0, because that's part of the filters?
Nope, because this is an array.
Okay.
We can treat that as an array.
So anytime you define an array and you just put bracket 0 after,
That'll give us the first
it
element.
will.
Yep.
Okay.
So that console.log there is just really a tool to help you search out for what your function is.
Yep.
After that, would it be wise to take that away? Like if you were gonna have someone else work on it?
Usually, it's, and I say that because sometimes statements like that are useful to your program, and sometimes they're not. So like, if you're logging stuff out to a system, which is a thing, because whenever production goes wrong, you kind of want to know what was going on. but you don't want to like log out every single line because logging's slow. So probably remove a lot of them, but not all of them. And they'll be different for each team.
So it's not-
Amanda? Well, sorry, Amanda was waiting patiently.
Okay, so before we return the first value of the array of filter. Because it would not occur to me to do that. Should I have swapped filter for each?
What do you think?
I think it doesn't give me an array. I think it's gonna cause me a different problem. But I don't know what the different problem is.
So if we make this a for each instead?
Yeah.
So for each is just going to do the logic for us, and that's all.
And not return anything.
Right.
We still have to tell it to return.
Yeah, we still have to tell it to return something. We still have to tell it what to find, what to look for. We could solve it with a for each, but it's not going to be this short.
Okay.
There's going to be a little bit extra stuff there.
I still don't understand why it returns just needle. The 0, because you're
Yep.
taking the first element.
Yep.
But the element has all the words in it, doesn't it?
It doesn't return just needle, it returns the whole string.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he filtered down to one array,
Uh,
and then he's like,
Mhm.
array 0, spit it out.
okay.
Yep.
This filter puts in a new array.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So that 0 makes a lot more sense now.
I like that return. I'll keep that return.
What, at the bottom? That's so unlike you, Joe.
I'm trying to make that
Yeah, you're fine.
maybe it's I put in a thing here, so it's grayed out the rest of my test, and I'm not sure what this function means. Or what this, I guess, here means. I know it says import Ava again, but I did, so.
We'll look at that afterwards. See what's going on with that. So how are we feeling with find the needle? A little bit better?
See why that one is tough now.
What?
I understand why I couldn't get it now.
Yeah.
This construction, it was bad. Constructing.
Alright, next up, find the needle.
So this could be
index.
done with a reduce as well.
Could it?
I think so.
Reduces math.
Reduce. So we're taking a string. We're taking an array and reducing down to string.
Right.
We probably could do it with a reduce. Is it the best use of reduce? Probably not. But because it is more like a filter, not really a reduce.
Right.
Did you solve it with a reduce?
I didn't. I thought the red flag was like, oh, one string. Reduce
Yeah.
returns one thing, so I'm like,
Let's use a reduce. So let's take a 12-minute break. I think we did a really good job at reviewing stuff last night, from last night. Let's take a 12-minute break, come back at 10:10, and we'll work on today's new topic of APIs. During the break, I'll convert this to a reduce if anyone wants to watch, but don't feel pressured to stay.
cool.